Why is it not worthy to argue with people or to bring counter arguments in many, if not most, of the conversations with lame people? See, if you're talking with scientists or with people who have a great prestige or, they're, let's say, well known in a certain community and you can actually impress them with your points of view, it is almost irrelevant to try to convince, the majority of people, the mundane people, of a certain standpoint, especially if they flare up, because you're probably having some life experience about this. When people flare up about something, they're not doing that necessarily because they want to prove themselves right, right? The point is, a lot of people, as I said, they are manipulators one way or another. They all just want something from you. They want some of your time to be spent with them, or most likely they want your energy, your time, something like that. I've explained in the previous video about manipulators only having success or mostly having success against people just because people have expectations. And well, manipulators are very good usually at teaching you that you can't live your life well without them. And so people build an expectation into them, right? To keep staying the same because people love being dangerously comfortable. So they expect that that person will keep the same personality, which, well, manipulators never are interested in keeping that personality. That's just a mindset, a mask that they use only to hook you in, right? Just like in most cases, when you see an ad for something, and usually the product kind of never ends up looking like in the ad, right? Some games are also like that as well, because this is a narcissistic perversion of society. Now, when it comes to people, see, a lot of people kind of don't necessarily want to argue with you. They already start the conversation with one simple idea. They want to show everyone that they're right, or they want to show that they are better than you at wasting other people's time. Yes, you've heard that correctly. People who don't have anything to do with their life, it's almost never worth arguing with them. Because if they don't have anything to do with their life, many people will think, well, they have so much time in their life. No, they don't ever have time in their life. They will always be much busier than you. Maybe you're all alone, and probably even in your 30s or 40s, maybe you're all alone. You have to do all the work for yourself. You have to work your job. You have to get back. You have to do some cleaning. You have to prepare food. I know that because I'm in the same situation. Yes. And it takes a lot of time. But those people usually take the easiest cheesy path in life and they buy themselves the food or they find themselves some bozos who do the work for them. The only satisfaction that you can have with these fuckers is that one day they will end up in such a big shit that they don't have anyone to call on so that they can get rid of that problem. Because if these people don't suffer greatly in their life, they will not break out of their comfort zone. See, they will invest their life entirely only into their drama, only into their stupid 2 or 3 ideas that they've invested their whole life into. And that's literally their entire life. Those people don't have any awareness at all, okay? People find it almost impossible to comprehend this. You have to comprehend many people who live this mundane life. They fit so well in this mundane life because this kind of life was designed for machines. Yes. It was designed for machines, for people who just follow orders, who are just slaves of not even their own ego. They are just slaves of survival. Because working a job, everyone knows job is an acronym. JOB, just over broke. Irrespective of how much money you get from a job, you're still one decision away from being broke yet again. And unfortunately, in this world, a lot of people have had it very rough in their life. Finding yourself without a job in a certain moment, especially during or very close to holidays when people don't do hirings, that's not good. Especially since it can take a long freaking time to actually get contacted back. Because all these stupid people who think that, they are resource managers, right? So you're technically working in the corporatist sector, right? And you're called a human resource, right? There's no place for empathy because this system where people work these stupid jobs This system was designed to love objects and to, to make use of people, because it's nothing else but the exploitation of people by people. You're ritualistically humbled and most likely humiliated almost every time you go to work, right? You're given the minimum wage, but you're working and giving a third of your time, right, to them each and every day. Well, each and every day that you work. Now, when it comes to life, these morons, they are not humans. I've been telling people these are not humans. Yes, they are in a human body, they have a human body, but they don't make use of their brain because they don't have any awareness. You need to have an awareness to make use of your brain. Because when you look at most ignorant people, it's like they feel so damn stupid that it feels like you'll have sooner or later to remind them how to breathe. You'll have to remind them to breathe. You'll have to remind them what to do, how to do things, right? And in this sick system of jobs, the problem is these people don't have any opinion. They have opinions and points of view just because they are slaves of their societal survival. Their awareness level is that of drones, right? They are drones of let's call it a sick hive mind, right? Because have you ever noticed that when you are the odd one, right, the elephant in the room, all the fuckers, all those weaklings, like they naturally agglutinate against you. One of them says the biggest lie ever against you. Everyone knows it's a lie, but they still ally with that person against you, right? Because that's how weaklings function. You always need a group of people to commit crimes, yes? Usually you don't do those necessarily alone, especially if you want to be doing big crimes, yes? So the point is, these sickos always agglutinate because they cannot function otherwise. All of these people who lack any sort of emotion, yes, they will laugh at any misfortune of yours, even in your face. They don't have any remorse. They don't have anything, right? Because first and foremost, in order to become aware of your emotion, one needs to have a certain level of awareness, right? Because when you look at animals, animals live their life entirely based on survival. That's why their senses are so acute. But when you provide a certain animal with the necessary survival, you will see that they become a bit more caring, right? Cats will cuddle a bit more, other than, the times when you meet them on the street and they're constantly foraging. When you look, for example, at dogs, they become more playful if their survival is no longer at stake. Many animals change their behavior more or less. But humans, one has to comprehend that we humans are still animals. Yes, we have, ego issues, and we love inventing all sorts of illusions to distort ourselves and to keep our minds busy, because keeping your mind busy is basically that easiest guilty pleasure, right, of the most miserable of people. Because it is easy to just constantly complain and to imagine all things and to spend your lifetime doing that. And when survival of the social kicks in, people will simply accept any possible idea, right? Any possible idea. That's why the television was invented, because the television was invented for such machines. Yes, because those are literally like robots. No emotions, no thought about even survival of the self, right? When you look at many of those, they're not even having any survival of the body, right? Like they are simply incapable, most of these humans, they are simply most incapable even when it comes to survival of their own physical body. But when it comes to survival of the self, oh my gosh, they will embrace each and every possible thing just because they have that obsession within them. Yes, they must survive socially. They must not be left behind because they know they are just some worthless piece of, like breath wasting material, and they cannot survive. They know that they cannot survive out of their madness, out of their sickness. That is why they always will fight against anyone who will try to do changes for the better in society. Because the only comfort zone that they know is that in the misery. Because everything that is miserable in their life is repetitive, but they know the script. It is easy for them to stay there because they don't have any feelings that would be hurt. They don't have any awareness that would suffer. They don't have literally anything, right? So To them, it's just super easy to stick to the same routine that they have. That is why the more they age, you will see them having the exact same freaking routine. It gets a bit quirky and then later on a bit creepy how they can fix themselves into the routine. You see them each and every day at the exact same hour in the same places, each and every day, yet again and again. It's like they wear a watch at their hand, but they don't even have the time. They don't even allow themselves the time to look at that watch because they've already embraced that lifestyle so much that, well, technically they do it again and again. And they have more accuracy than their watch might even have, right? That's how invested these people are into their own mind. And their mind will only be nothing else but a trash bin of the ideas that they hear around, because they'll never formulate an idea of themselves. Because, well, first and foremost, you need to have an awareness to think on things, right? You don't need a brain to think. Even science has told that the brain is not necessarily the one force in your physical body that deals with your actual thinking. Well, from a spiritual standpoint, it is your mental body which deals with that. It is a whole different dimension of life. But, well, the brain also has a dimension in that physical body, so it goes a bit more complex. But, well, the point is, leave it like this. I don't know how to explain it entirely either. But the point is, you need a certain level of awareness to think about something. Because when you look at most idiots, you simply leave them somewhere, they will simply die of the easiest of the things, right? Because if you don't have awareness for something, you don't know even how to live, right? So you need a certain level of awareness to think for yourself, then to become aware of your own emotions, right? So the point is, after following this huge parenthesis, hopefully it becomes clear that people don't need to waste their time to argue with others. Because in most situations, all that many mundane people want is just drama. They want some of your emotion. They want to see you suffer, right? And they want to do it slow. So that is why they want you to feel pissed off, because the more they make you feel pissed off, the more they make you think of them. So technically they win a free space in your mind. When they win a free space in your mind, you're going to think of them, so you're going to give them some of your energy. This thing is quite real, even if most people don't want to accept it. But when you look at people who are simply displeased with everyone else, they hate everything, they're always spiteful and hateful, you will see that they don't do any fucking thing with their life, but they are constantly super tired, as if they've been working the whole day, not sitting in their stupid bed, probably playing some pitiful game, or just wasting their time thinking about all the possible mishaps that they can do, or all the things that happen to them, right? And each and every time they think about those, usually they will make those things look even worse. Those people don't have any awareness. They don't care much about what they say. They just say something because they expect, yes, they expect everyone around them to accept them for that. And these people, as they are all alone, obviously, because these people know that they will never attract any attention, any better attention than what they have around, they get kind of bored sooner or later. And the problem when they get bored is they will want to impose their points of view on the others. And that's when the cancer in society starts, right? That is a huge problem. Because when they want to impose something on you, they're not interested in proving you wrong. They're just interested in proving that they're very effective at wasting your time. Yes? Because they are nothing but teachers. They are constantly reminding you that you're wasting time with trash. You're just talking to a trash bin. They don't have any awareness. They have just some ideas they've heard from other sources. They haven't thought about those ideas. They don't even have any logical sense about those ideas, because in most situations, if you have patience and some knowledge of things, you theoretically can beat the crap out of those with simple facts. Will they ever accept them? No, because they're not interested in proving you that they're wrong or proving you that they're right. They're only interested in showing you how good they are at wasting your time. Yes? Hopefully this video raised a bit of awareness. You are appreciated. Take care. Enjoy life. This being said, Ferenc Board signing out.